Boo! What's up, you sexy bastards? Cast your minds back to the year 2001. It was a simpler time. Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings were coming into cinemas, Call of Duty was yet to plague shelves once a year, and I was only 9 years old, so I didn't have to pay things like bills or have things like responsibilities. But today we're going to be talking about Microsoft's Xbox, which this week was celebrating its 15th anniversary. Now I could go on for hours about how the Xbox is the best thing in the world. I have to edit this video and I really don't want to do that. So instead I'm going to be running down 15 things in 15 years of Xbox. Number 1. When developing their new console, Microsoft looked to PC, which at the time they dominated. They fitted their new console with PC-like things, so they put in an internal hard drive. It was a whopping 8 gigabytes. What? It also had internet capabilities, more on that in a minute. But the name Xbox actually derived from the architecture. They took DirectX, which was their graphics processing, from PC, and they called it the DirectX box. Then marketing came along, they shortened the name, and it was released on November 15th, 2001 as Xbox. Number 2, the killer app. No, this isn't Tinder for serial killers. When Microsoft released their Xbox, they knew it needed to have an absolutely amazing game right out of the gate. So they looked at their recently acquired studio, Bungie, which at the time was trying to figure out this new IP. It was also a big risk as it had changed genres quite a bit, and the genre they chose was FPS, which at the time wasn't associated with consoles at all. Yes, you had GoldenEye, you had Perfect Dark, but shooters still didn't really work on console. However, Halo released alongside Xbox, and the rest is history. Number 3, going back to what I was saying in point 1 about the online capabilities, in 2002, Microsoft released Xbox Live, which was the online multiplayer component to a lot of its games. However, it didn't gain traction until 2004 with Bungie's sequel Halo 2, which, if you can believe it, actually included a lot of the features we now take for granted, like friends lists. Number 4, who remembers Xbox Live Arcade? It was a big thing on Xbox 360, but believe it or not, it was released on the OG Xbox in 2004. However, it wasn't originally a downloaded feature. You had to get a disc through mail order from Microsoft and then install it onto your Xbox. It also included a free copy of Miss Pac-Man, which is badass. Number 5. In its first year, Xbox sold 278,860 units in Japan, which is how many Wii U's Nintendo wish it had sold worldwide. Zing! Poor sales in Japan is a trend that Microsoft has been battling with ever since the Xbox first launch. 6. In 2005, Microsoft released the follow-up to the original Xbox, Xbox 360. However, it was never going to be called Xbox 2. Microsoft's marketing realized that its direct competitor would be the PlayStation 3, and simple mathematics would tell you 3 is more than 2, so 3 is better than 2, so fuck you. Now, why for the love of God their third Xbox was called Xbox One, I'm still trying to figure out. Number 7. To be the first to market with the 7th generation console, Microsoft released the Xbox 360 early, but that also meant that there was going to be some design oversights. The lights on the front of an Xbox 360 console weren't just there to indicate to players when controllers were connected, but they were also there to show when hardware failures occurred. When that happened, the lights would turn red, thus the name Red Ring of Death spread around the internet like wildfire. Is Microsoft really the good guy if they put light indicators in, knowing there were going to be hardware problems? Number 8. There have been a number of accessories to go along with Xbox consoles in the past, the most famous of which is perhaps the Kinect. But cast your minds back to 2006 and you'll realise there was one a hell of a lot worse. In 2006, Microsoft released the HD DVD player, which was an external box that sat next to your Xbox 360. It did what it said on the tin, it played HD DVDs, which got absolutely fucked up by Blu-ray. HD DVDs have become phased out even before they began, and the HD DVD player created for the Xbox 360 was discontinued just 16 months after launch. Number 9. While we're talking about bad Xbox moments, here's some stuff from E3.
Okay, Skittles, that's enough, please. I hate tickles.
Hit me, hit. Top that, man. Let's take a look. It will happen, I promise. I guess you may see it later.
10. Before we move on to more modern days in Xbox, let's take a moment and reflect on fallen Xbox franchises.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room and the air.
11. While I joked earlier about not knowing why the Xbox One was called the Xbox One, there is actually a reason to it. Cast your minds back to 2013, and the Xbox One was originally going to be a completely different console. Kinect was going to be fully integrated into the experience. Throw in the fact that it could be connected to a cable box so that TV channels could be played through the Xbox, and entertainment apps like Netflix and YouTube, you had the all-in-one entertainment package as Microsoft sold it, which was why it was called the Xbox One. 12. If previous Xbox boss Don Matrick, who unveiled the Xbox One, has a phobia, it's going to be 3 little letters, DRM. If you remember when the Xbox One was announced, it had very strict digital rights management or DRM policies. Long story short, it basically meant you couldn't be playing used games, which would completely eradicate that part of the gaming industry. It also meant that you had to connect online every 24 hours just to authenticate that you owned the game that you were playing. On June 19th, 2013, these policies were reversed very quickly after E3 2013, when Sony announced it wasn't going to be doing any of that at all. Then, Don Matrick left Microsoft a few weeks later. 13. At the time of recording this, Xbox One has sold approximately 23.5 million units worldwide, which is still far behind PlayStation 4, but more recently, it has been leading in month-to-month sales, possibly due to the Xbox One S. 14. The past 15 years of Xbox have been amazing, but there's still more to come. In 2017, we're going to be getting the release of Xbox Scorpio, which is said to be the most powerful gaming console ever made. We're also going to be getting HoloLens at some point in the future, which is going to completely revolutionize alternate reality gameplay. And finally, number 15. And to finish this video, let's take a look back to the original Xbox being unveiled by Bill Gates.
We're unveiling the Xbox. This is the product that will be out later this year. And there's an amazing amount going on, working with partners who help build the hardware, working with the software developers, working with the retailers. The program around this thing is really quite phenomenal. But the box itself is another thing that we put a lot of energy into. So you may have been wondering what this draped device was here. This is the Xbox. And so for the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.